Hello, welcome to Dundrell's podcast. I'm your host Justin. So this is a very late night review, guys. So if I sound tired, forgive me. So yeah, like I promised, I watched Suicide Squad, the 2013 film, directed and written by David Ayer from Training Day fame and Fury, which love both those movies. End of Watch was also good. And did he do Bright? That seemed like a movie he would do. Actually, I think he did do Bright. You know what? I'm looking at his filmography. He actually did do Bright, which Bright was, in my opinion, Bright was a good movie. I don't know. Did I review it? I can't remember. But yeah. So boy. So this movie is 2 hours and 10 minutes. The one I watched was like 14 minutes. So I don't know if I watched the extended cut. And a lot of people hated this movie when it first came out. I think the problem was that the movie was not R-rated, and it probably should have been R-rated. And I find it funny. There are a lot of people, which I gotta say, I like both Suicide Squad movies. I watched both of them in theaters back, like when this movie first released, and the James Gunn version I watched in theaters as well. And both, it's funny how like a lot of people love the sequel but hate this version, when this version made over like $746 million, while the Suicide Squad bombed. Which, let's be real, the reason why the Suicide Squad bombed, a lot of people are coping that it was like, oh, it was COVID or whatever, right? Bullshit. I went there day one, right? You know what? You know what actually caused the movie to bomb? The Suicide Squad is an obscure team, and they made sure for the first movie, right? They made the brilliant decision to, hey, put Batman in the film and put Flash in the film, right? Which Batman has Batman's not in the movie very much, but he has like scenes throughout the film. You have a lot of Joker scenes in this film, right? And that made people want to go out and see the film, because people actually do love Ben Affleck's Batman, which I'm still a little mixed on Ben Affleck. I don't think he's the greatest actor in the world, but like his Batman is the most comic accurate Batman, and aesthetically he is the coolest, right? So before we like get into it, but like yeah, like well, I forgot to mention, like Suicide Squad 2021 was supposed to have Henry Cavill's Superman in the movie, but they took it out. They took it out. They took him out of the movie, right? And they did that because they fucking Walter Hamada had this plan. Hey, let's fucking copy the MCU and replace Superman, right? And for some reason they have like a hate boner for Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck, even though they paid Ben Affleck a shitload of money to be in like BVS, right? To get him to be in these movies, which they probably wouldn't have needed to get him $50 million dollars. I think that was for him to do BVS, when he said like the only reason he did Daredevil because he was like, oh, this is the closest I'll ever be to ever playing Batman, which he's a huge Batman fan. But yeah, let's be real, if Superman was in the Suicide Squad movie, it probably would have done a lot better. So what did I think about? Sorry, sorry, let's talk about the story. What the movie's about. So the movie's about Amanda Waller, who is some kind of CIA op or whatever agent. Which she was in the comics. She was just like a politician who somehow was able to finesse her way into finesse her way into black ops operations, which didn't make no sense, honestly, because she went from being a secretary to helping some guy become mayor to fucking running black ops operations for the president, which was Reagan, right? Because it was the 80s, so it's how the fuck, whatever, right? So the movie starts off with her pitching her Task Force X, which one thing I liked about this movie is that they name dropped a lot of DC names and organizations. They name dropped Argus, which was which was in the New 52. That was their shield, right? Right. So Flag, which is played by Joel Kinnaman, who was originally supposed to be played by Tom Hardy, but he turned it down to be Venom, right? Which honestly, this Suicide Squad movie is probably way better than Venom, aesthetically at least, right? Yeah. So she pitches the team to David Harbour, who's in the movie as as a politician, right? And it's funny because I didn't notice this the first time around, but you can tell who's going to die right away because they don't even intro one of the characters, like Adam Beach's character Slipknot. Which is he's just in the roll call. He's they don't fucking give you his origin story at all. So the team they build up in the movie, right? Which the reason why they want to make this team of criminals, right, is because as a contingency plan against a rogue Superman or metahuman global threat or something, right? Yeah. So the team they assemble is Harley Quinn, was played by Margo Robbie, which you get her origin story in the movie, that's just sprinkled throughout the movie. You got Killer Croc, who is played by Ed Abisi from Oz. You got Captain Boomerang, played by Jai Courtney. Deadshot, who's played by Will Smith, which I hated that they got Will Smith to play Deadshot. But you know what? He actually did a good job, right? But it's kind of good that this movie bombed. Not bombed, but critically bombed, because because if this movie had done well, they would have probably eventually had race swapped Deadshot in the comics, which fuck that, they did with fucking Nick Fury, right? Which I think Nick Fury's ultimate comics version is now, I think, in the main Marvel universe, right? And he's in all the cartoons and whatnot. So that's kind of one good reason why it didn't do well. So yeah, you also have Diablo, which is played by Jay Hernandez, who Diablo is this Latino gangbanger with fire powers, right? And you also have Katana, played by Karen Fukuhara, who plays the female on The Boys, right? You also have the Enchantress, which is played by Cara, what's her name? Cara Delevingne? I don't know, some actress. Also, Amanda Waller was played by Viola Davis. So, what happens is that Amanda Waller fucks up by recruiting the Enchantress, which is this ancient fucking um, sorceress who ends up on a mission going AWOL and takes over the city and creates this like zombie rock monster army, right? And it's up to the Suicide Squad to clean up the mess of Amanda Waller's mistake. While that's going on, Joker wants his main bitch back. With the help of Johnny Frost, which is like his henchman. Which Johnny Frost was in the Joker manga that I reviewed. If you haven't watched that video, right? Which they got the guy from True Blood, like Jim Perek, to play him. Also, Scott Eastwood is in the movie as one of the Navy SEALs that accompanies the Suicide Squad as they go on their mission. Which Scott Eastwood was great in the film. Spoiler alert, they killed him. It's like, fuck, man. Oh, so that's why he wasn't in the sequel, when he detonated the bomb. Which nobody gave a shit. Like, when like Jay Hernandez died in the film, spoiler alert, like, they were sad for him, but nobody was sad for Scott Eastwood, even though he was awesome in the movie, he was badass. Which I still think Scott Eastwood should have fucking been casted as Solid Snake. But, you know, he's supposed to be playing Liquid, so that's almost just as good, but he should have been both. Especially since his fucking dad was the fucking reference for, like, you know, Solid Snake, right? So what do I think about this movie? One, I think aesthetically the movie looks great, from everything from the costumes to the makeup, the lighting, the music. Though it was very modern, it was still okay, right? The cinematography was great, the action was great. The movie could have used an R rating, but besides from that, you know, besides from the R rating, it was a very, like, aesthetically awesome movie. The problem with the movie is the dialogue can be a little not great in some scenes, but the acting was top notch. Jared Leto's Joker was a bit over the top, but like, I think if you got him a good writer, he would have, like, his Joker is fantastic. It would, like, I get big Hisoka vibes from Joker, right, in this movie, right? Where, like, though it's the thing where, because, you know, it's, you didn't have an R rating, he didn't come off as dangerous and as much of a threat as he should have been, but he was still, like, awesome in the film, right? Like, if for people who think that Jared Leto's Joker sucks, you need to watch his scene from fucking Zack Snyder's Justice League cuts. That scene, oh my god, perfectly, like it makes Joker, like, great, man. And Joker, I was never a huge fan of Joker in the comics. I always thought he was a joke. But, like, here in the movie, they do a good job of making him, like, you know, as, like, this unpredictable, like, crazy guy who you have no idea what he's gonna do, right? And, like, fucking big Hisoka vibes from him. Like, if you ever seen, like, Hunter x Hunter, you know who Hisoka is, who's basically just anime Joker, but if Joker actually Joker was an actual physical threat, which that's the one problem that Joker has in the comics, is he's not a physical threat to Batman, right? Which this one looks like he could be, right? So other than that, I think the movie is great, but it's the thing where they took a huge left turn from like the comics to the point where like they just gave it like this urban, like, you know, they gave it the David Ayer Training Day treatment, where it was like, oh, let's make everything like rap music and like, you know, ghetto and shit. But like, so like that turned off a lot of people. But I think aesthetically the movie was great and had this like unify, like this. It had this like you know, unique vision that, you know, set this movie apart from all the other DC movies. And like, you know, it's like people have to admit, like, this movie was unique. It didn't feel like like a carbon, like, copy and paste, like, oh, let's just rip off fucking what the MCU did, which is what the like Joss Whedon's Justice League felt like, to be honest. It was like, oh, it's just copy and paste. And that same thing with Shazam, which I fucking hate that movie. I couldn't even finish it. But yeah, like, people have to give this movie credit. Like, it felt like its unique vision, and its unique vision, and they went for it. So if I were to give this film a rating, I'm giving it like a 7 out of 10. Yeah, it has its problems, but, you know, I think it makes for it with the acting, the characters, the aesthetics of the film, all top notch. But like, fuck it, DC, release the fucking air cut, the air cut. If you're not gonna fucking release the Flash anytime soon, give us fucking the air cut, please. God damn it. Peace, guys.